You know, three guys, three grown men dressed up like budget mall cops. They thought they could punch my daughter right there on our front yard, our private property. They saw me, this quiet guy, always out there mowing the lawn, trimming the azaleas. Just another suburban dad trying to blend in. What they absolutely didn't know is that for 12 years, blending in was the last thing I was ever trained to do, especially when my family's involved. Before I tell you how quickly that little game ended for them, do me a solid, drop a comment below, and tell me what the biggest HOA headache you've ever had was. Let's make sure this story helps put those kinds of bullies back in their box. We bought this place, our corner lot in Silver Creek, about 4 years ago. It wasn't about the equity or the school district for us, not really. It was about rebuilding. My wife, Sarah, she lost her battle with the awful C word, and it gutted me and my daughter, Maya. I mean, we were walking around like shadows. This house, this little patch of earth, was supposed to be our reset button, a place where Maya could actually plant a rose bush and maybe, just maybe, breathe easy again. I'm an old-school infantry guy, 2 tours. I came back wanting nothing but peace, the kind you can't buy, the kind you build with a quiet life. I'm not the guy who wears a veteran hat or talks about the service at the barbecue, you know? All I wanted was to just be. The neighborhood was great at first. Waving neighbors, tidy hedges, standard HOA stuff, gentle letters about trash cans being out too early, the usual nitpicking. Then, about a year ago, this woman named Veronica Sterling took over as HOA president. She's the kind of person who drives a huge SUV to compensate for being a little person inside. She confused her volunteer position with being the mayor of a sovereign state. That's when she introduced her Community Standards Enforcement Team. Not licensed security, not off-duty police, just 3 local knuckleheads in matching Navy polos. Bad clip-on radios and clipboards strutting around like they were Delta Force. We started calling them the HOA Gestapo. I caught them once trying to peer into my backyard while I was grilling, literally trying to open the gate, claiming they were assessing shrubline conformity. It wasn't enforcement. It was just low-grade, constant harassment. Maya and I just rolled our eyes. We ignored it. Until last Tuesday morning, I was in the middle of a serious virtual meeting, eyes glued to my screen when I heard it. Not just loud, but wrong. Sharp, angry yelling. I threw my noise-canceling headphones off, ran to the porch, and just froze. Maya was backed right up against her little vintage Mustang, cornered by those 3 clowns. The ringleader, a puffy guy with too many hair products, was practically spitting. He was holding a laminated printout, screaming about an unauthorized bird feeder. They were calling it an attractive nuisance and structural liability. I mean, a bird feeder. Maya was trying to explain, her voice shaking, something about attracting native sparrows, but they were having none of it. They wanted compliance, they wanted submission. Then, the guy with the laminated paper, we'll call him Kip, he reached out, not to push, but to deliberately hit her chest with his fist. Not a heavy punch, but a shocking, disrespectful pop. Her eyes went wide, hurt, betrayed. And in that second, the Zoom meeting, the mortgage, the quiet life, all of it just evaporated. I dropped my phone on the porch and I started walking down the steps, and let me tell you, it felt like I was back in that heat, that dust, that place you go when the only thing that matters is the 2 yards in front of you. Sir, back away from the scene. This is official enforcement action. Kip barked, trying to sound authoritative, puffing out his chest. I stopped. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even unclench my fists yet. I just looked him dead in the eye and said, low enough that only they could hear, "Scene? Buddy, you just made one. Wrong daughter, wrong driveway. And you sure as hell picked the wrong day to touch a Marine's kid." Kip, bless his heart, actually chuckled. A cocky little chuckle. "You threatening an HOA officer, old-timer? We'll call the county sheriff on your—" Voice changed to sharp, fast action. He didn't get to finish the sentence. He was mid-gesture, waving that clipboard like a flag. I didn't punch him. I caught his wrist just above the cuff, twisted sharply and clean, the way you train to disarm, not to hurt. His body instantly folded right down to his knees, howling, dropping the clipboard with a pitiful clatter. Now the second guy, a truly large slab of humanity who looked like he ate protein powder for breakfast, stepped in, chest out, roaring, "You just assaulted an office!" Action voice again. He didn't even see it coming. My elbow, heavy and direct, connected right beneath his chin. A clean shot. It wasn't a street fight punch. It was a trained, targeted strike. He dropped. Just dropped. A dead-weight thud on the driveway. One hit and his lights were officially out. I heard Maya scream my name, not fear but a warning, and I spun just in time to catch the third guy who was trying to be clever and sneak up with a haymaker. I ducked deep, pivoted on my heel, and drove my knee, hard, right into his solar plexus. You could hear the compressed whoosh of air leaving his lungs. He didn't drop completely. He just crumpled into a gasping, retching pile on the concrete, absolutely useless. These weren't fighters. They were bullies who had never been punched back, never been told no by someone who meant it. They were neighborhood punks playing dress-up, thinking that a navy polo and a laminated card gave them courage. The one on the ground, Kip, clutching his mangled wrist, was already fumbling for his phone. "I'm calling the police," he gasped, red-faced, panicking. I smiled, a real, genuine smile. "Good. I've been waiting for this moment." He froze. He knew somehow he had lost this battle the minute he dialed. See, I hadn't been silent. I had already filed 2 formal written complaints about these clowns harassing elderly neighbors, especially the single woman down the street. Veronica Sterling, the HOA president, had just laughed it off, called it operational teething issues. But I had my security system ready. Maya, bless her heart, had actually turned on the external drive camera the second they walked up to her. Clear audio, perfect angle, the shove, the yell, the fake authority, the first punch, and then my response. When the real county sheriff pulled up, I recognized the lead deputy immediately, Officer Rena Marquez. We'd been stationed at the same base years ago. She was just a private then. She stepped out, looked at me, clean-shaven, calm, then at the scene. 3 men groaning, 2 crumpled, 1 clutching his face. I just nodded. She nodded back. "Sergeant Miller," she said, calm as a lake, "you want to tell me what happened on this driveway?" Maya stepped forward, shaking a little but focused. She showed Officer Marquez the footage. When the officer saw the clip of Kip actually striking Maya, she turned to the only one still semi-conscious. "The big guy trying to sit up." "Let me get this straight," Marquez said, her voice dropping to that lethal official tone. "You just assaulted a civilian on their private property, claiming fake authority, and then got completely folded like cheap laundry by a combat veteran in clear self-defense." She paused, looking down at him. "Do you still want to press charges, sir?" His face, already the color of a stop sign, crumpled completely. He mumbled something about needing an ambulance, not a lawyer. That's when Veronica Sterling screeched up in her ridiculous black SUV, jumping out and waving a binder. "This is an HOA matter. This is a homeowner violation. This is my authority." Officer Marquez didn't even blink. "No, ma'am. This is now a criminal investigation involving assault and battery and impersonation of a peace officer. Your enforcement team is currently being detained." I stepped closer to Veronica, ignoring the sirens in the distance. I looked her dead in the eye and said, quiet enough to feel like a threat, "You send men to put their hands on my daughter again, Veronica, and I will file federal charges on your entire board for organized criminal coercion. Understand? The story, man, it went wildfire." By the end of the day, someone had posted Maya's driveway footage to the local community page. Title, "HOA Goons Attack Veteran's Daughter." "Get folded by her dad." The comment section exploded. People who had been silent for months, terrorized by these petty fines and intimidation, started sharing their own horror stories. Fake fines peeking through windows, threats over the color of a mailbox. The very next morning, 2 of the clowns were served restraining orders. The third guy, the one who threw the punch, he was officially charged with aggravated assault and impersonation of public personnel. The sheriff's office made a public statement confirming that no HOA in the county had any legal authority to deputize cops. I filed the civil suit immediately. Trespassing, harassment, assault, and emotional distress. It wasn't about the money. We wanted accountability. We wanted the court to officially declare that these fake cops had no standing. Veronica Sterling, realizing her kingdom was crumbling, called an emergency HOA meeting. I didn't go, but Maya did. She walked in, quiet and composed, with Officer Marquez, in uniform, right beside her, a thick folder of printed testimonies in her hand. When Maya stood before that room, she didn't read from my prepared statement. She read a letter from a single mom down the street whose baby stroller on the porch was threatened with a fine. That broke the room. The silence shattered. People stood up, voices rising, screaming for Veronica's resignation and demanding an audit of the HOA's financials. The whole meeting fell apart in minutes. By evening, the entire HOA board was dissolved by a court order, and a county auditor took over. Guess what? They found dozens of cash-only enforcement fines had gone missing. No records, no receipts. Every dirty secret buried under Veronica's fake authority came to light. The puncher was sentenced to 2 years in county jail and a hefty fine for the impersonation charge alone. The court ruled all 3 men had to stay 300 feet away from our family for a decade. The HOA itself, the corporation, was fined $35,000 for negligence and unauthorized enforcement practices, a legal first in our county that actually set a precedent. That night, Maya and I sat on the porch swing just watching the fireflies. She looked over, took a sip of her iced tea, and smiled, a real smile this time. "You didn't even break a sweat, Dad," she said softly. "I told you," I said, looking out at the yard I finally had peace in. "I may mow lawns now, kiddo, but I'm still the guy who closes the deal when the paper's signed. You're my jurisdiction, and that's how it ended. The lies exposed, the fake cops gone, and our home, our reset button, finally at peace. Tell me, folks, have you ever had to stand your ground against fake authority? Not with fists, but with principle? What did you do? Drop your story down below. I read every single one. Let's talk about justice.